Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to my predictions for UFC 246. So I'm going to go through all the main cards. To this fight will be Anthony Perez versus Diego Ferreira. Now, looking at the records, Perez having a 22-9 record, with 11 of them coming via knockout, 7 submission, and 4 decisions. His striking accuracy is 46%, his grappling success is 55, and just having a look at his last 3 fights, he lost his fight in 2018 on the second round by a knockout against Tony Ferguson. And then he won against Thompson by a knockout in the end of the second round, and lost to Diaz via decision. So looking at his last 3 fights, he lost by knockout in the later second round, won in the late second round, and went all the way by decision. So he can certainly has got gas in the tank to go all the way, and he's really good. 11 most ranked in the lightweight division. And then going over to Diego, who is really on fire lately. He has a 5-win streak, 3 wins by knockout, 6 wins via submission, which means he's had 7 of his wins come from decision. So he can certainly go all the way. Just having a quick look at his stats. 37% striking accuracy and 23 grappling, so not the best, but again, his fight streak is incredible, a 5-win fight streak. Having a look at his last 3 fights, he beat Nelson in December of 2018. He won his next fight via decision, and his next fight via decision. So he's won a few of his fights. Most of his fights are done by decision, so he can certainly go all the way. And with his 5-win streak, my money's on Diego for this fight, because just looking at all these stats and like how impressive he's been playing or fighting, it's great. His accuracy and his grappling isn't more accurate than Anthony's, but at the same time he has got a 5-win streak in his belt so far, and I just think that's too much for Perez, just coming back from a Diaz loss, which again, Diaz is a really good fighter, so there's no disrespect for him. That was a hard fight. He fought to the end. Not many people can finish their fights with Diaz. Very tough brawler to face. So both sides pretty equally matched, but I think Diego's got the edge in this just because of his 5-win streak and his just incredible form, and he's going to continue to try and keep that up. And Perez might want a redemption from his last fight, but I definitely think Diego has got the upper hand in this fight. So my overall prediction will be, I feel like this fight will go distance, and I feel like Diego will just get that upper hand in the split decision, but nevertheless this will be a really close fight, and I think both men will really put in the work. So yeah, that's my prediction for the first fight in the main event on Saturday. So Grasco and Agalia is the next fight in this UFC card, and Looking at the stats, I think Agalia, with a great record of 17 wins and 4 losses, 2 coming knockout, 8 submissions, and 8 via decision. So again, she's more into going the long distance and getting the submission. Not much by knockout, so you will expect grappling, taking them to the ground, and really going the distance in this fight. 42% striking accuracy, 47% grappling accuracy. Looking at her last 3 fights, she won her fight via decision, and then she lost her second last fight via decision, and she won her last fight just in June of the 6th, 2019, via decision. So the last 3 fights going the distance. She can really go the distance, I believe. Just going back a few other ones, she lost via decision. She won in the first round via submission. She won via decision. So she really does go the rounds, and if she sees a submission, she will take it, guaranteed. So yeah, I'm expecting her to really expect to go all the way, and to grapple her way into it. Now Gasco, Axelia as well, ranked 6th in her division. Glasgow ranked 11th in her division with 11 wins and 3 defeats, with 4 wins via knockout. Her striking game is on 42, and her grappling is on 50%. And just having a look at her last 3 fights, she lost her third last fight. She won her second last fight against the Polish, who actually lost to Axelia as well, and she's lost her last fight via decision. So her last 2 fights went away via decision. She lost her third last fight via submission. So I think Axelia will be looking to counteract on that. But just having a look down through all her fights, they haven't gone the distance. So both these women can go the distance and can win, both via submission. But I think Algia has got the upper hand in going the distance, and Gasco will try and look for a knockout, or to try and just get out of that bracket, and or try and get out of her of Azilia's ground game, and try and stay on the ground with her striking, because she can really work on her feet. But if it does go to ground, she is more than capable of putting up a really good fight. My predictions for this fight: I think Algeria will win, and I think it will be again all going the distance via decision. Although if Gasco puts in the work, she could get a quick knockout, and try and avoid going to the ground with her. So that's my predictions for the second fight in this card. Our next fight is Linux versus Green. Green obviously not in UFC 3, but I'm quite interested in this because I watched the recent Ultimate Fighter series, and Green seemed very good, a very good striker, very good potential. But he's going up against a veteran of Oleeks. He is ranked 12th in the heavyweight. So, just having a quick look at his resume, which is extremely impressive. 57 wins, 13 defeats, 1 draw. An absolute crazy record. 8 knockouts, 45 submissions, and 4 via decision. He's got a 50% striking accuracy, which is pretty good considering he's had 71 professional fights. His grappling is on 40%. And just having a look at his recent few fights, now he hasn't been the greatest in his few fights. Just going back, his last 2 fights he lost both via via knockout in the first round. One lasting 12 seconds. Getting knocked out in 12 seconds. The other went quite the distance. His third last fight, he won to Mark Hunt. He won via submission. He won via submission in the fifth last fight he had. But to be honest, I'm not really praising him. He's 42. He's known to have his chin cracked quite a lot. I don't think. I think Green is just too powerful for him. He's too young for him. But you know what? We don't know what will happen in this fight. Now, Green has had 8 wins and 4 losses. 2 of those wins coming by knockout, 4 by submission, and 2 by split decision. His striking rate is 45%, and also his grappling is at 50%. Having a look at his other few fights, he lost his last fight via knockout, and he won his other fight via knockout, and he went the distance with his third last fight. And just going back even further, just have a quick look at his other fights. He won via submission in one of his fights, and yeah, so he seems to really go for a submission, knockout, whatever he is. But I actually saw him fight in the Ultimate Fighter quite a lot, and he was a beast when it came to striking. He was a very good striker, and I'm going to back Green for this fight because I feel like, I just feel like it's too powerful. He's too powerful, and he's younger, he's fresher, I do believe that he will win, and I think it'll be via knockout in, I think, the second round. I think he'll win by knockout in the second round, or even the first round. I don't think it'll go the distance. I'm pretty sure he'll get a knockout, although Lynx could get it via submission, but Green does know a few wrestling and grappling, jiu-jitsu kind of things. He has got a couple of them up his sleeve, so I wouldn't underestimate Green bringing him to the ground thinking that you'll get a submission off him, because he also can counter with a submission from himself, because he is quite good at it as well. But I feel like Green's game plan for this fight will be to go in powerful, heavy hitter like he has done in the Ultimate Fighter and in his other fights, and I think he will win via knockout in the late first or mid early second round. I don't think it'll go the distance. So Holly Holmes versus Pennington. I'm really looking forward to this fight. Really looking forward to this fight because these are two great fighters. They're ranked third for Holly Holm and fifth for Pennington. Really, really good fighters. Extremely good fighters. Just having a quick look at Holly Holm's records. 12 wins, 5 defeats, 8 coming in knockout, 4 via decision. 32% strike rate and 32 grappling, which again isn't the great, but after all she has thrown quite a lot of punches, so that wouldn't be the greatest stat to go off. After losing to Amanda Nunes in her last fight, and she lost the belt, or she was fighting for the belt and failed to get it. She got knocked out in the first round in 90 seconds. She won her fight before that against Anderson. She lost by Cyborg, which is fair enough, and then she won her fight before that. That coming by knockout in the third round. She went the distance with Cyborg, and she won by decision in the third round against Anderson. So, looking at Holly Holm, I think she's very powerful. I think her kickboxing will come in extreme handy in this fight. Just having a look at Pennington now, her record is 10-8. 1 coming knockout, 3 via submission, 6 by decision. 45% accurate, 28% grappling. She won her last fight, and she lost to Nunes in her third last fight, and lost her second last fight via decision in November of 2018. She won and lost by decision in her last 2 fights. She got knocked out by Nunes in the 5th round. Having a look at her few fights, she can go the distance very well. She has gone distance with 6 decision wins, but this is not really it's not really a hard one for me. I'm backing Holly Holm. She's a great kickboxer. She's a brilliant boxer, absolutely crazy boxer before she came on the UFC scene. And she's very good at her jiu-jitsu as well. She's really practiced ever since she went to the UFC. She's really really concentrated on her jiu-jitsu game in ever since she joined the UFC. And I think she's just way too much. She's got way too much power. She's got real knockout power. And I think Pedersen will be looking to go to the distance, but it just won't happen. And I think Holly Holmes will win by a knockout in the first round. I'm going to say she'll knock her out in the first round, because I think Holly Holmes is just way too good of a kickboxer to stand with Nunes, or to stand with Paddington. Yeah, so first round knockout for Holmes. And now the main event, Cowboy Cerrone versus McGregor. Now this fight is pretty it's going to be a great main event, a brilliant main event. McGregor has a slight disadvantage because, okay, first of all, he hasn't been fighting for quite a long time, but that shouldn't really phase him too much. And as well as that, he is going up a huge weight class, but he's managed to match Cerrone's weight, which is incredible for him. But I just wonder if he's at his peak in that weight category. He says he is, but I don't know if he is. He's ranked 4th in the rankings, while Cowboy is in 5th. McGregor has a 21-4 record, 18 coming by knockout, 3 left to the judges. He's got 50% strike accuracy, which is just crazy, and he's got 63% grappling accuracy, which is kind of quite surprise. And obviously McGregor, beat Aldo in the first round, then went on and fought Diaz, lost to Diaz, rematched him, beat him via decision, won against Alvarez by knockout, lost against Khabib by submission in the 4th round. In that he hasn't been too active in the UFC, obviously, but McGregor is capable of going the distance, especially with Diaz. He went to complete distance with Diaz, but lost to a submission, which I think is his downfall. I think he's lost by 4. I think I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure he lost all his losses had become from submissions. I think one of his fights was by decision, I think, but McGregor is just outstanding, and he's absolutely insane, and I don't think him being out of the octagon very long will phase him too much. Now moving on to Cowboy Cerrone. Cowboy Cerrone has had a 47% striking rate, 36% grappling rate. He's lost his last fight by knockout, and he lost his second last fight by knockout, by knockout in the second round as well. And he beat in the third. He won by decision in his third last one. So again, this fight is extremely close to call. I think Cerrone is a great Muay Thai fighter, but McGregor likes to go for those leg kicks and those huge overhand rights, and those massive striking power he's got in his arsenal. But I think it's too much for Cerrone. I think Cerrone has good ground game. Sorry, he has really good ground game, and I think it's just a bit better than McGregor's. But I don't think that will get in the way of McGregor getting the win, and I have a feeling that McGregor will win this fight, because I think it's just he's just way too much for Cerrone. He's way too powerful, and yeah, I think Cerrone and McGregor, it will be an insane fight. It will go maybe the third round. I think what you're seeing here is a quite good estimate. I think knockout from McGregor in the third round, towards the end of the third round, will be a reasonable prediction, because I think McGregor, he said in the press conference, he's not looking to go for that straight knockout. He's trying to, take his time, get his feel back to it. And I think being out of the octagon so much, he has to get his feel back. He has to get, the movements back together. And I think he'll really start to pound Cerrone in the second and third round. And I think Cerrone will put up a really good fight, but I think McGregor is just too much for him. And I'd say a knockout for McGregor in the late third round. So those are my predictions for the up and coming UFC fight. I hope you guys did enjoy, and I'll see you later.